Men who used to last seconds in bed but are now freaks. How did you do it? For the first 15 years of my life, people have avoided me like the plague because I was too ugly to be associated with. Anytime someone showed any interest in me, everyone at school would start teasing them and say that my weight was contagious. They even told my only friend to wear a plague mask around me if they didn't want to live a 600-pound life. Anytime I tried to go to the teachers for help, they would make it worse. One time I accidentally ate the entire class's snacks for a party and my math teacher spent 15 minutes yelling at me and telling me that Eric Cartman wouldn't even eat that much. Around that time, people were constantly talking about social media, so I tried to keep up with everyone by making a cool Instagram account. I took some pictures for my profile picture against my car, but every time I leaned against the car, a noticeable dent would appear. The only picture that looked alright was of me leaning against my car with several dents along its side. Everyone printed that photo out and put it all over the school. They would start threatening to call the cops on me whenever I went towards the parking lot because they were afraid I'd break their cars. I would always cry alone in my crappy car with an empty road ahead of me. I get that I had fat arms, flaps that hung over my belt, and had a face full of lard and acne, but I just wanted one person to be nice to me. I was all fat, no muscle, and I hated gym because I was constantly outmatched by every guy. I always came last. My breaking point was when it was graduation day and right after I got my diploma, I tripped on stage and sprained the ankle of the girl in front of me. All night everyone told me about how I ruined that girl's special day, but it was my special day too. I was invisible to every girl in high school up until graduation day. When I got to college I was still invisible, but one girl, just one, gave me a chance. She was looking to get back at her ex-boyfriend and lose her V card. I was available and she gave me a shot. It took a lot for her to get me hard, and we spent more time on that than we did doing anything else. After 15 minutes of her doing all her tricks, I was finally hard and she was ready. I couldn't go on top of her because I would have turned her into Flat Stanley, so she went on top of me. It felt fantastic, and the next thing I knew I was done in a minute. She was furious and said this wasn't worth it. She told me the only reason she got with me was so her ex-boyfriend would feel angry that she slept with a fat dude before he did, but she at least expected that I'd last at least 10 minutes. When I finally won, the universe spat in my face. That right there was my canon event, and I promised if something like this happened again I'd just eat myself to death. I hated my self-deprecation. I wanted to feel human again. So, I did the only thing I could do at this point. I went to the doctor to get a belly reduction surgery. I told the doctor all about the humiliation I had gone through, all because of my weight, and losing it now felt impossible. The doctor ran a couple tests on me, and by the end of my appointment he told me my testosterone was low for a man. That's why I had erectile dysfunction, no muscle mass, and since it slowed my metabolism it made it hard for me to lose weight. He decided that the surgery wasn't the best idea for me because my low testosterone would affect the recovery process, and my health would get worse. He even said that no matter how much I worked out, my weight would never decrease because of my low testosterone. I went home feeling disappointed that I was going to be trapped in my fat body for the rest of my life. I couldn't end it like this, so I tried something else. I have a friend who had a lot of muscles, had girls falling for him everywhere he walked, and was confident. He was everything I wished I could be. So I asked him how he was so fit. He said he used to have low testosterone and was a scrawny guy, but all that changed when he started taking base Shilajit because his testosterone levels shot through the roof, and it made it easier for him to gain muscle mass. I was hesitant because I didn't believe in any miracle supplements, but after taking base Shilajit for 2 weeks, I woke up with a hard-on for the first time. Guys always said they struggled with their morning wood, but mine was as limp as it could get, until now. I began hitting the gym as well because now that my testosterone levels were increasing I started feeling more motivated, and I knew that I had higher chances of losing weight. I was doing cardio and lots of chest and tricep workouts. I had never been more motivated to work out. In only 6 months, my face was slimmer and I could see my jawline for the first time since elementary school. My high level of testosterone made it easier to burn fat and gain muscle. My man breasts were clearly smaller and I stopped wearing hoodies to hide my bread loaf of a belly. I didn't avoid looking at myself in the mirror every morning anymore. Though the weight loss was incredible, the thing that surprised me the most was how much the base Shilajit made my peener harder. When my meat stood up straight it stood up taller than ever. It was so big it hurt to think about Addison Rae when I wore jeans. With that fixed, and my libido higher than ever, I finally became licensed and equipped to go to Pound Town. I was losing weight, so I went to buy new clothes because mine could fit Peter Griffin. When I was shopping I got my first ever taste of pretty privilege. When I was buying clothes at Aeropostale the goth cashier asked if I worked out and complimented my muscles. I was really confident so I wore a compression shirt that day, which made my muscles look bigger. My muscles were proof that my testosterone had increased. After flirting she wrote her number on my receipt and left it in my bag. All the girls kept looking at me that day, and it was because they actually liked what they saw. In 6 months I had turned from a pathetic sad loser to feeling like I could take on the world. A couple of days later a girl at Chick father-in-law called me cute and gave me a free cookie. Maybe I'll go back one of these days and see if I could eat her cookie. I didn't even feel scared about eating that cookie, like some people do after losing weight, because my testosterone levels were in order so I was going to burn the calories either way. Later on, I was given extra scoops of Panda Express orange chicken by a girl. With my world changing around me, I never thought this was all possible. I finally felt handsome and other people were starting to recognize it too. Even though everything was opening up to me, all I could think about was the goth cashier, so I called her up. I took her out on a go-karting date and I finally faced my greatest enemy. I was prepared though. I knew that for a fact because my peener was functioning perfectly. My intimacy drive had improved, I got harder easier, and I could last a lot longer than I did with that last girl. My date took me back to her place and she told me to ruin her. I ripped off her clothes and I was finally on top and I didn't have to worry about squishing her. I lasted 40 minutes minutes in bed. She finished 3 times and I had so much energy I humped her silly. I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship yet though because there's other kitties out there for the taking. I made my grand return back to social media and started posting my weight loss in other subreddits and on Instagram. Everyone from high school couldn't believe my weight loss and how attractive I got. I was getting hundreds of likes on my posts and in my DMs I had a bunch of apologies from everyone in my graduating class. There were a handful of girls that wanted to meet up with me for coffee and others wanted to jump right to bed with me. The most unexpected surprise was the girl whose ankle I sprained during graduation. We're meeting up soon and I'm gonna press my foot down on her back when we get wicked. It was like I was living someone else's life. I was bigger and stronger than the fat boy I used to be. It was incredible. Had I known pretty privilege was this amazing I would have been attractive years ago. Edit. So many of you have been asking what I did so I'll lay it out simply. I took base Shilajit to increase my testosterone levels, and I followed Colin the creator's workout routines.